Okay, so we're going to find maximums and minimums of quadratic functions. But sometimes I think the wording is a little tricky on these problems, so I wanted to go over that. Let's say we have, a piece of graph paper, and let's say we have a parabola with a vertex at -2, 3. Okay? So say that point is -2, 3. And let's say our parabola is going this way. Not a very good parabola. I gotta draw a better parabola. Okay, like that. Well, the maximum, this is going to be a maximum situation here because you have a maximum output. So think back to when we did mins and maxes before. This is going to be a maximum point here at that vertex. So when you're doing quadratic functions, the max or the min is always going to be at the vertex, okay? So that's the maximum right there. But what's the maximum value? This is talking about the output. So in our case, the maximum value is 3. The maximum value occurs at -2. So this is like the y, and this is like the x. I don't even like to think of it as x and y. I like to think of it as input and output. So here's your input, and here's your output. So when we talk about the maximum value, we're talking about what's the most you could get out of your function. And in this case, the maximum value is 3. That's the most you could get out for an output. Where does that happen? Well, it happens when x is -2. So that's why they say it occurs at -2. Or they could say this happens when x equals -2, something like that. Okay, so minimum value is going to be similar, except our parabola is going to go differently. Let me do something real quick. Let's say we have a minimum value at 4, 1. Let's say that's our minimum value. So the graph is going this, the graph is going, well, it's going through that point because I said it would. But our parabola is looking like that. It's a right side up parabola, okay? But we have a low point here. And I'm telling you that point is 4, 1. So we have not a maximum this time, but we have a minimum. Now for quadratic functions, you either get a maximum or a minimum. You don't get both. Okay, so this one has a minimum. And what's the minimum output? The minimum value is 1, and it occurs at 4. So here's the output again, and here's the input. So the lowest value we can get out of this function is 1. And when does that happen? It happens when x equals 4. Okay? So I just wanted to explain the wording because I think that part's a little tricky for students sometimes. Okay.